Dad's father's name was Sanford. And
Bordner.
Anna Bordner and Anna Bordner.
Yeah.
And they had, he was in a barber shop. And,
well, what was...
Through the years, they had 5 children. So,
what was Wilson's, was he an electrician then? Or?
yeah, he was at that time. His father knew electric and had him on as a helper.
Mm-hmm.
He took to it very, very good. He went on. He had, through the war, they had, he used to work at the,
Did I have it on?
Turn it off that way. He worked First Right, and they liked him very much there. So,
well, when now you lived in Batavia and then you moved back up to Crittenden?
Well, then, no, yeah, because we didn't have the money to pay for our bills. So, I tried, as a helper, he didn't get much money. So we asked if we could stay with my mother and dad. And so we stayed there a while, but I got
old. So, now you didn't have any children then,
no,
did you? No.
No. And well, that was in 1925. So then we went on up to, we stayed there with my mother and dad. Well, Earl's house, he had an upstairs, there was a little apartment upstairs. So we decided we would go up there and live there. So we lived there for, Robert, Raymond, George. They were all born up there. Only when Janet was born.
Yeah.
Well, then when my dad died, or my mother died,
and she died not real old though, did she?
No, she was, I think she was around the 70s, 60s,
yeah.
or 70s.
And she had?
She had sugar, and then,
what, she had real long hair? Did
no.
you said, oh.
Well, yeah, she had long hair, and then she was going for a while now.
And you used to fix it for her? Or?
Yeah, well, that's how I found out she had sugar, because she had sores in her head. He says, I got some sores in her head. Here, I looked at them, they were all patches of sore. So I called our old doctor, Dr. Gipple, and well, he swore and said, how long you had them? Well, she says, quite a while. So he said, you got sugar. So he was put on a real diet. Well, then she fell and broke her hip. Well, they would never try to, to mend it or anything. There's just another laid there. So I guess that they knew that it wasn't going to
heal.
Anyway, she died through that.
Oh.
So then Dad said, well, I could either have the farm up there, or I could have the house. Well, of course, I liked the house. So, but not knowing what I was doing.
And young.
So then you were born down there.
Yeah. Now the other 4, like Robert and Raymond and George and Janet, they were born up there at the...
Yeah, well, Janet was born at the hospital, which was in Buffalo, the hospital. But Raymond and George were...
Right there in the kitchen, huh?
Yeah, right in the bedroom there, the doctor come. That's what they did now that day. Of course, we had a woman come to do the work, Nurse stayed with me a while.
That must have been something.
Yeah. Robert was born down in Crittenden when I lived with mom and dad.
Oh, when you lived with your mom and dad?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So So, first
Oh, I know.
grandchild,
Yeah.
grandpa, yeah. He was a cool little
Spoiled
fellow.
rotten, Robert.
And, so, and then of course, then we went up to live in, over Earl's, and Raymond was born up there.
Well, what about Robert though? Wasn't there something that he always did? When he was growing up, or when he was a baby, didn't he have a hard time sleeping?
Well, he cried a lot, that's.
And then what? If he was crying,
He was,
but what did you used to do to get him to sleep?
yeah, we'd take him for a ride in the car to sleep.
And then Raymond was born.
And,
He was the accident.
yes, he had so many accidents, terrible.
Which one fell out of the house?
That was Raymond.
That was Raymond.
Yeah, they were all playing with that. We had a great big old dog, too, up there. And all of a sudden it crashed. And of course we had an inside stairway. Well, I never went down that stairway as fast as I did. And Earl, at that time, he had had this accident. He was hurt in the mind.
Oh, wow.
And he says, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, oh, Raymond's fallen out the window.
Was it winter time?
Yes. I said, well, if it hadn't been for the snow, the bank of snow there, you would, of course, he was just a little child, probably around maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I guess.
What'd the kids say? Hey, Mom, Raymond fell out the window?
Well, I don't remember that, but I know that he fell out. And he was all right.
Yeah.
Nothing was wrong. Then another time he went into downstairs, because we were in and out all the time, and they had one of these big bulbs on the lights, and put the chain on, and he come in, pull it down, the whole thing come down, get him in the head, he had a big rash on there. So that I had to get fixed. So he was
You hadn't listened. I told him how to do it.
so then, and of course,
I told
Bordner
him
was
to do it.
going up there too, and he had a long stairway in the back. And we were going to Batavia, and I said, now George, you sit right there, you're all ready, you sit right there till we come. The rest of them, and I had got
One dress at a time.
Yeah. And, well, we came out, George wasn't there. He'd fallen down the stairs.
Oh, no.
And he had a gash in his head here. Of course, it was lucky that we were on our way to Batavia, so we stopped into the doctor. And he
Oh, gosh.
never a dull moment.
Yeah. And then what's like Janet? Now, she was born down at the hospital.
Yeah, she was. Robert got sick, and he had asthma. Of course, I thought it was asthma attack. I finally called the doctor, and he said, well, how long have you been like this? I said, well, a couple of days. And he said, he's got scarlet fever.
Oh.
So, at that time, when he had scarlet fever, everything went out.
Oh.
Everything had to be washed and things out. He said, you get yourself right down, get the kids out of school, bring them all down. So we were quarantined in.
Oh, wow. Down in the house in
No, this
No.
is upstairs,
Oh.
up over Earl's. And but Robert was just about over him. He was ready to get up and
play.
play. And one thing that I remember, George's, he had a little teddy bear. And he always liked that teddy bear. And he says, of course, the doctor see the toys there. He said, you gotta burn all them. I said, no, I can't burn that little teddy bear. Yes, you are. So, poor
Oh.
little Georgie didn't have his little teddy bear.
Aw. Well, now, did Janet get that too, or what?
I didn't get it. You're not listening to anything here, boy. turned out.
Yeah.
After we quarantined, my dad used to come up the back stairs to see if I wanted anything. He lived down in my road. We rented my other house.
Oh, I
down
see.
there. And I know that's the time we got lice.
Oh my gosh.
And I know that I said, Doctor, you must have, you were the nurse, because where else would I go? And one night they were all sleeping, and I had a glass in my hand, and I see this bug on it. Oh. So of course I called my dad right away. Grandpa. Dad was working. I was alone with the kids.
Oh.
He was working into Curtis Wright in the airplanes. And so he'd come home weekends just to see how we were and say hello and couldn't come in.
Oh, we couldn't come in.
No, he was quarantined out, we were quarantined.
Oh, no.
So he stayed with Jim and Helen. And so I called my dad out and he says, gee, maybe we can get some kerosene. So I rubbed kerosene in my head.
Oh.
And got that out. I never know where I got that license.
Oh.
It went out. So,
How long were you in quarantine in the house?
oh, it'd probably be about 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's something. I'm sure it was, because it could spread out all over.
Well, the only place I had been, I used to go over and help Mrs. Gerhardt with her horse, and she had two children. And of course, she wasn't a very good housekeeper, and she was always a school teacher, and she didn't know. She never got her thing, so Clarence asked me if I could come over. So I used to go over and help her wash. And they give me 25 cents a wash. That's how it works.
Oh, man, 25 cents.
Yeah, so I'd go over there and wash her clothes for her. Well, that was about the only place I had ever been before, so.
You kind of think you got it from there.
But anyway, they quarantined the girls in.
Oh.
So, but it didn't spread any farther anyway, so.
Well, that was something.
Down Batavia. Grandma got sick, and we brought them all up to our house. That was when we were living in Britain. And well, finally we had to put her in the hospital, and she passed away. Well, then there was Grandma.
Do you remember how old she was, or she passed away before before Sanford?
And then they sold their house, and so I took, he came up and stayed with me for a while, and he got sugar. I had to give him the insulin. That was a chore for me to do. And
why? Because you didn't like shots, or?
well, I just didn't like it wasn't, stick the needle in anybody.
Oh.
He didn't mind it. I'm doing okay, but it just kind of finished. And then, well, for some reason or other, the other brother, he must talk and didn't want to stay there. Father didn't want to stay.
Oh, he didn't want to stay
He
with
didn't want anymore. I didn't pay much attention to him and all that stuff. Well, I couldn't take care of kids and him too. Sit down and talk to him. So that was one day when I was down in Batavia. I met Lester. His name was Lester. So I said, well, we'll make arrangements. And then he went and stayed with his sister. Of course, she had 7 kids. That was
the Palones.
Palones, yeah, she married Palones.
Gladys.
Yeah. Of course, she had arthritis so bad, so, but they finally put him in a home too. He finally died in a home. That's it.
Yeah. Mom, I know you'll be going back to Florida. You live where now in Florida?
In Bradenton.
Bradenton?
You know, and we came down there in 1964 and rented this house. And finally, one year we used to come back and forth in the wintertime. Went back, and still Dad was working for Buffalo, just in the winter there.
Well, I remember doing that when I was...
Yeah, well, that was the time. And, well, you came down, remember the time that you came down, you went to school?
Oh, yes, sixth grade.
Sixth grade?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then I, of course, helped Ida out with her tree, wallpapers, all that stuff. I suppose Dad had nothing to do, or he couldn't find any job down there. So we up and come back home. And he went back to work again. Then the one year we got back, and the friends of ours said that the place was for sale. And it's going to be on the courthouse steps, and put your bid in. So we said, well, put a bid in. We went to buy the house. So we put the bid in for $5,000. Well, the next day she called back. She said, well, you got the house.
Wow.
And of course, we'd never seen the house inside at all.
Oh, really?
No, this girl, her husband was, had to go to Bay Pines. He was in the war. And she, of course, lived down there with him, and she had 3 children. So, and then when he died, well, she wanted to go back to Michigan, so she wanted to get rid of it.
That's a pretty good deal. It was in 64.
64. So then we got down and we had to rebuild. Of course, then in 67 he had a stroke. But he still wanted that house fixed up right, electric.
So you were his helper.
Oh, yeah. And I had to bring the tools and the lines. And you go back and forth to see when it was straight. You put a brick here, a thing down here. I don't know how he did it, that's all. He had to,
oh, with that leg.
with his left side all crippled.
Yeah. Well, he loved it down there, though.
Yeah.
And he passed away when?
In 77.
77. He was, what, 73 or something like that, 72? Wasn't he? Yeah. I remember I was with some beauty school thing, and I heard that, you know, he had passed away, and I know Raymond and I, because we lived in California, and then Raymond and I flew back. I remember that. Well, Mom, I know you've been out here visiting. We thought we'd just do this for the family, and but well, I guess we can tell them how old you are now.
Well,
and when you were born.
Well, 1905,
yeah.
and I'm 89.
Will be 90 in
August the 30th.
Yeah.
Dad's was in July the 30th. So we can tell.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, but he was 3 years old.
Yeah.
3 years older than I was.
And then he'll she'll be going back to Florida and then maybe up to New York to visit. See how things.
When I get in Florida and find out how things are out there.
Yeah.
Sometime get my cottage ready. So.
Well, do you have any wisdom? What is it? Words of wisdom for the upcoming grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
I don't know if there's any wisdom. I think they should live a good life. That's all. And stay out of drugs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Growing up for you has not. They did not have things like
No,
that.
now it's very bad, but don't get into it and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
If you go to school, I didn't go to school, which I should have. I didn't think I needed that. I sure didn't need it, so you can tell by now. Because as you get older, why, you get dumber.
Oh. I don't know about that.
Yeah. So I think that's enough for today.
Only I thought he kept saying it was no one was home, Jerry.
Yeah.
And so he says,
What is your problem, Landman?
You're on display.
she's been sitting there for an hour saying, I know Carol's doing something. Well, come on in. Look at Grandma. Maybe she's barking.
I called twice at 7:04 and no one answered the phone. Lumberg was on. Huh? Lumberg was on the phone. That's the reason. Oh, well, it kept ringing. Did you get a busy signal? She's got a call later. Was that it? Rang about 10 times. I recalled, rang about 10 times, and I thought,
He didn't hang up.
where did they
Oh,
go?
Jennifer.
Yeah, we all left. We ditched Grandma. And I don't know.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Grandma.
I thought, we're just going to open another bottle of wine and say to heck with it.
That would be okay, huh?
Well, what the hell? You know, we don't care. We have our own party right here.
Yeah. Are you surprised?
Yeah, was she surprised? She was sitting over there saying, I wonder what they're doing. Well, Wendy's coming up. Yeah, she wasn't surprised at all. She comes over and says, I wonder what the big surprise is going to be. That's how much you sucked her in.
Hi, Grandma.
Yeah. No. No.
I gotta get a hug.
She didn't take it hook, line, and sinker. She didn't even take the hook.
Happy birthday. And I brought my kids, really.
But
I don't know if you ever met Shirley. When she was real tiny. When she was real tiny. Yes, I'm the baby.
You back? You back?
Huh?
Are you back?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to know you guys didn't all leave. We were about ready to just open another bottle of wine. I called over here and nobody answered. And I thought, well, there's nobody home. We'll make our own for you. I hate to say this, and I'm being completely impartial, but
Lucky nobody
you
shot
still
you.
got the world's second most beautiful granddaughter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I'm not being, I'm being fair. I'm being fair.
Because it was crowded, they were busy coming
Every day I think I learn something.
So young, you don't look your age. Been there for 3 days. That's why I was telling her it's too bad.
said she's not leaving tomorrow. I was down in Ontario Airport.
What do you mean?
Oh, you're just too smart for us.
Really? She knew, Carol.
She says, where's the surprise?
Oh, I knew that.
She said that girl's up to something, is what she said.
Yeah. Is the surprise ready yet? We can go now.
Well, let's see, that.
So what time do you leave?
Oh, no, it's cute. I said, did you get that? Oh my God, it's so $7. I went, good.
We won't stay long.
I love this. This is great.
Catch the home to rest.
Okay. Well,
I know they're up there.
Wow, I've never tried a lot. I've never tried that.
Something new.
Light a match or who?
Hi, honey.
I guess what I'm doing.
all right, where's the hamburger or the hot dogs? Right now.
I just had one of my kids call me
The
tonight
Vietnam War.
that I had this last year. I had them for 2 years actually.
I use that on my
I
job
had
site.
first and I had second.
How's his family doing up there? Good?
Might work
You got third and I said, no,
We can dig
Hi
into
there.
please. Would you not laugh? I'm already, like, I just went to the same grade, you
I haven't
know?
seen Jennifer in about a year. She has grown a
That's
whole lot.
Isabel, the youngest sister.
This is Mom's 90th birthday party.
That's one of the round brothers. Oh, that place is, that campus is Can
Hey,
you go in?
Win.
Well, that's not Grandma's potato salad. I'm not going to eat it.
Jennifer's in the sodas, I can see. She's Grandpa's girl. Miss Soda.
soda.
Drink that soda pop, Miley.
You're going to get all the 4 generations of women here together in the same picture, Jerry?
Yeah, my heroes.
Oh, and I would like to take this moment to have a special thanks to my husband Jerry for all his support and help, for all the understanding he's done for my mom, and so I'd just like to take this moment to tell thank you, Jerry.
Gag, gag.
Is that the same Jerry I know?
How much did you? How much money did you spend on this? What did you get for gifts?
Yeah.
Look in your wallet, Jerry. See if you got any.
Yeah, I gotta think. Boy, is he gonna hold big for that, huh?
Oh, and Costco does not decorate cheesecake. They did it special for me today. They did. Yeah, and they said don't advertise it, don't tell anyone. It can be done. I tried to get one decorated and they said no. Oh yeah. No, they said no.
You said I'm an attorney's wife.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, she's 90 years old. That's what I said. How do you jump?
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God.
We're gonna sing happy birthday one more time.
Light your nail, Carol.
My niece home videos. She lit her nail. Oh my gosh! They're flammable, Carol. I'm gonna sue them. There.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandma Mother. Happy birthday to you. Blow them out again, Bob. Have another wish.
Okay, wish again.
I wish before.
Come on. Oh, I got
Yay!
Oh, my nail. Maybe I know.
was unusual, Carol.
Send it, America's
It's a personalized nail, yeah.
Hey, there we
I could go with that.
Yeah.
I saw that on TV once.
You wanna go
Some
in?
girl got their nails really hot.
Okay,
That'll happen to you, did you?
well, did you want to get a close-up of the cake, Jared?
What's it say?
Happy birthday, Mom.
Tell a little more, Mom. Happy birthday, your
Mom,
grandma,
happy birthday, Mom,
grandma.
No, wait.
great-grandma.
We need the Jerry
Great-grandma.
speech again, Carol.
No, I already got that.